want to address eschatologist's concern that the clock in the menu bar wasn't integrated into the OS quickly. He says it didn't come in until System 7.5, and I'm going to say, yeah, that was quick. It was only 4 years between the time it was introduced and the time it got scooped up. That's in a 30-year history of the Mac. That's relatively quick compared to, I don't know, like theming, which almost made it in, but then no, not at the last minute, and we were still waiting for it to come. But anyway, yeah, the history of the Mac from 1994 until today has had a clock in the menu bar. That's a pretty long time, and for a couple of years before that, it was a third-party utility. Was Windowshade third-party? You guys don't know. Maybe someone in the chat room knows.
I remember Windowshade, and I remember getting a crappy knockoff for my PC because I thought it was awesome.
It is awesome. It was awesome, and it is. Windowshade had to go back to being third-party after being integrated to the OS because they took it out in OS 10.
Then they had... So in practice, you just have like all these like sticks around your screen, like these Windows sticks that are left over. Like what?
Awesome. Windowshade was awesome.
Yes, Marco, that is basically how it worked.
Why would you want that?
This is why Windowshade was awesome.
I have a screen full of sticks.
If you're a person like me who arranges your windows on the screen, like doesn't maximize everything, doesn't tile everything, but actually arranges them like you'd arrange items on a desk in front of you so you know where everything is.
No, I do that. I always got very mad whenever anybody would move my like AIM window or something.
All right. Well, not just AIM window, but everything. All your terminal windows, all your editor windows, stuff like that. All right. Being able to essentially minimize them without having them move. So when you want them back, you go to where they were, but they don't take up visual space on your screen anymore. You just have the little stick thing. Like displace minimization, like into the dock or, hidden, also has its place. But being able to sort of maintain the spatial state of your windows while having them minimize themselves, having them hide, having them curl up and get out of your way until you want them, lets you quickly find them again without going to a menu, without hovering over a bunch of little identical looking icons in the dock, because you know exactly where it is, because you can visualize where it was, and now you just have the top part of it. So I miss Windowshade. It wasn't the ultimate thing for window minimization. All the other tools we currently have now are also good, but they took away that one, and it's kind of a shame. And it's probably just as well because nobody arranges their windows anymore. They just do everything full screen or just have no idea where their windows are.
I can't imagine having like all these sticks all over the place and be like, because it seems like...
Well, you don't minimize all of them. It's not like you have a million sticks. You just minimize the ones you're not using right now.
Why is that so much better than hiding? Because hiding gets it all the way gone. Like
how do you get it back then?
You hit the icon on the dock or you use the Alt-Tab thing?
What icon on the dock? There's 7 icons in the dock that are all badged from the same application. I mean, you don't know which one is the one you want. You got to do the mystery meet hover and find out which one it is.
Oh, I never minimize. I only hide.
Well, but if you hide, how do you get it back then? You have to go back to the application, go to some menu, or go to the dock icon and pull it up by its name. And I hope you remember the name, and I hope your application is good about giving titles to the windows that make sense, and that especially if it's a window that has tabs and it doesn't convey the tab title up. Spatial memory is a lot better for me anyway, and I think for most people.
Yeah, I have spatial memory of where things are on the dock. Seriously, the things are always in the same place in the dock, so I know.
What, the application icon or the little... but you have to... The application icon doesn't magically make the window appear. You have to look at the list of windows that are minimized under it.
How many windows do you keep in one app?
A lot of windows.
Maybe this is our disconnect here. Like, I generally don't... Like, in each app, I usually keep between 1 and 2 windows. Like, and I use tabs very heavily in Terminal and the browsers, but I don't keep a whole lot of windows open.
I have 11 windows in Colloquy right now, to give an example.
Oh my God!
In BB Edit, I frequently have. I don't know. I think I've pushed up into 100 before, maybe 20 or 30 most of the time.
I didn't even know Colloquy had multiple.
Me neither.
In Terminal, I usually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9. Maybe
what the
10.
hell is wrong with
Each
you?
of those windows has tabs in it.
Do you not believe it? Yeah, I was going to say, do you not believe in tabs? Oh my God.
No, the terminal windows have tabs, though. I love terminal tabs. Obviously, my browser windows have tabs. How many browsers? I don't have a lot of browser windows open now. Right now, I have...
I love that every week that we're finding out like some crazy computer habit from John that nobody would have expected.
I have 19 Safari windows open right now.
Oh my
Windows.
God.
19 Safari windows, not even tabs.
Tons of tabs in those windows. Each
Holy
window has a lot
God.
of tabs.
If only there was a way for you to like save things to a reading list or something to read it later.
That's not what this is for. Yeah, I have. This is why I need a bigger screen too. Like,
Wait, stop.
I have a lot.
A bigger screen. This is like giving a hoarder a bigger house. Like you don't. That's not going to fix your problem.
No. I'm not hoarding things. I'm not collecting windows. They each have a thing that I'm doing in them.
It kind of sounds like you are.
John, you cannot have 19 windows with multiple tabs per window that you're, and I'm using scare quotes, doing things in?
I definitely can. I sometimes there's sort of like sedimentary layers. Like, for example, my work windows, because I was doing work earlier today, are, separate from my other windows. I don't use spaces either.
Oh, how could you manage all that without spaces?
My 19 colloquy windows, by the way, are precisely arranged in the same place they've been for years. The same windows, because I have one window per channel, and they are precisely arranged.
And you hang out in 19 channels? Oh my god!
How do you get anything done during the day?
I'm not in them. I'm just idling. Don't you know how IRC works? You don't have to be there paying attention.
Yeah, they're all in like the little tabs in the side. They're not. Oh my god!
No, the windows are open. I see.
How would having little minimized window sticks everywhere? How would that help your problem?
For colloquy, when I'm doing a podcast, I don't want to look at any of the windows except for the one I'm doing, so I have to minimize all of them to the dock except for the one that I'm doing. If I could option window shade them and they would all shade up and then shade down the one I want, I wouldn't have to do that.
Oh my god.
I know I can option click to make them all unminimize or whatever. I probably wouldn't use it for colloquy. I'd probably use it for editing windows more. I just use it for Finder windows too.
I'm stuck on, I cannot cognitively handle more than a couple of Safari windows.
Because you're window users. You're used to maximizing everything. You can only handle one window at a time. I know.
No. I can only handle like a sum total of maybe 10 tabs across like two windows.
You should see my work computer. It has so many windows on it. Like there's unbelievable amount of windows. My home one, sometimes I have to go through and clean up things. Like I know what's in a lot of these windows, and sometimes sometimes these things are from Instapaper, but a lot of times there are things that I can't view. I look at Instapaper on my iPad, and some video won't play because it's like flash or because the thing is choking on it. Today on my poor iPad 3, I was reading a blog post, and it had like text and then like a Google ad next to it, and I double tap the text to just have the text fill the screen. And it was some crazy JavaScript on this page that was like, no, I will always have to show you the ad. So the largest you can make this page is where it shows my little pretty blue margin, and then my white margin, and then the text, and then another white margin, and then the ad, then a blue margin. And if you pinch to zoom, all it did was make the text smaller so it could fit the ad in. And scrolling the page was super slow. So it's like, I just want to read that, and I need a 2.8 gigahertz processor to read this friggin' blog post, apparently, because I'm not going to scroll this on my iPad and watch it like stutter and accidentally make it seem like I clicked the ad when I'm trying to scroll. Very frustrating. Anyway, there are reasons that I might have things in a browser window instead of looking at them in Instapaper on my iPad.
Wow.
I don't even know what to say right now. Like 19 Safari windows. Did I hear that right? 19?
Yeah.
How do you tell which one? Oh, no, that is the one. Number 17 is the one I want.
I have them arranged.
It just seems like there would be a lot of churning going on here because you can't.
Yes.
I mean, you can't fit 19 windows on screen, and you said you don't use virtual desktops.
No, it's called they overlap. It's called tiling. You know?
Wait, and you have only one physical monitor connected to your machine, is that right?
Yeah, I'm a one monitor person.
And it's what is it? A 24-inch class or a 30-inch or what?
Yeah, 1920 by 1200.
Right, so 24-inch side. Okay, so wow.
This is making me hurt. I want to cry just thinking of you trying to manage all this.
It's not managing it. Like, this is just how I work. This is like seeing someone's messy decks and say, how can you do anything done with all those markers and pencils everywhere? And there's just paper and erasers. I don't understand how you get anything done. It's like, no, I'm concentrating on the thing I'm concentrating on, and I know where the things are. All these paints and cups and buckets, and how do you get anything done? You have a stick and an easel, and I don't understand how you get anything done. How do you know where everything is?
Right, I have 367 sticks on my desktop, and I can tell exactly which one is the window I need.
Well, it's like it's like a mechanic who's got an entire tool chest next to him, and everything is in a drawer, and in every drawer there's a little cubby, and everything is there, and it's all within arm's reach when he's working on a car.
I think that's how the mechanic sees it in his head, and then in real life, it's a giant pile of unsorted tools, and I know where it is. I can find it. I can quit whenever I want.
Yeah. Anyway, the beauty of the computer is things never get dirty, and what the beauty of the computer for window arranging should be. I still want this utility, and I don't think anyone's ever going to make it. This is something that Apple should make. Is I want something that lets me arrange windows with constraints.
First of all, I'm pretty sure that many of those exist. Second of all, this is your app, John. This is your great idea. This is your.
No, but it's the type of app I would never make because I would know this is a doom from the start because Apple would never. It would have to use private APIs, and it can never go on the Mac App Store, and there'd be one user of it, me. Like the apps you're talking about, every time I mention this, people send me the million apps. Like they're mentioning the chat room already. Here comes Moom. What's that other one called? Divi is going to come up next. I know all these apps, right? Like these apps are made by people who like the Ion Window Manager. They're like for tiling, or like even Windows does it where like I can make it half my screen or a third of my screen. It's like, no, I'm not subdividing my screen.
You want auto layout for Windows. You want to be like, all right, this window has the same center X coordinate as this window from this app, but is always 30 pixels to the right of the window edge.
Not that, but that's too complicated. Like there is an app that does that. There's an app where you can like type in those type of things and have like bind them to keyboard shortcuts and stuff like that. I don't think it does auto layout stuff, but it does basically springs and struts type thing. Like you can very precisely, but I would never want to do that. I would need it to be a GUI. What I want is something that apps used to do. A couple of neat little apps used to do, like individual apps would do it. It wasn't a system-wide thing. And some apps still do it, kind of like where you would drag a palette and it would kind of snap the palette into the corner of your screen, but it wouldn't be touching in the corner. It would leave a little margin. And if you brought one of the other palettes of the application up below it, this is before everyone's palettes were dockable, like, in the Adobe apps today. You bring another palette below it, it wouldn't stick to the bottom of the other palette, but it would leave a little margin. That margin was the same. Like what I basically want is, for example, my colloquy windows, I have arranged in a particular way, and I have them in groups, and the groups I want all to be the same width, and I want them to be vertically aligned with each other. And if they're not overlapping, I want them to be a consistent margin between them above and to the ones to the right. But if they are overlapping, I just want them to stay within their right and left edges. Like basically sort of magnetic, sticky, smart guide kind of things. Kind of like what Keynote does.
Totally.
Kind of like what OmniGraffle does with its layout constraints. Like a combination of those two things. It would take some experimentation to get it right. And you need modifier keys when you don't want it to snap and stuff like that. Just a few simple snapping rules.
Oh, totally. Just a few small rules.
Yeah, for making things the same width and lined up with each other and stuff like that. Now I just do it manually, and it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But, or tiling, just regular tiling windows. Like, there are certain tiling offsets that you don't want to happen. Let me tile a window and leave, like, 2 pixels visible on the left and right edges, because that's not good enough. Like, I want sort of magnetic kind of snap to gritty, but not really a grid, like, where I don't care about the screen grid. I only care about what your position is relative to other related windows in the same app or something like that. It's complicated. That's why no one makes this app. I don't think anyone would actually want it. But for people who are meticulous window arrangers, all 5 of us really like it.
John, maybe if you didn't have 19 Safari windows, you wouldn't need to be quite as meticulous with your arrangement.
No. But it wouldn't help. That's just one application. Terminal, I get bad in Terminal. Terminal tabs have they're a problem because now every window has like 1 million tabs in it.
You could just not have as many windows and tabs.
No, I use them for work. Like they have a purpose.
You could use I'm going to choose not to throw stones on the Perl issue. But yeah.
That's not what I'm doing with the terminal windows. All the Perl's open in BB Edit.
And how many windows are there?
At home now, I just have 1 window open in BB Edit, but at work I have many more than 1. Every once in a while, I flush everything out, close all the windows in an application, start over again. But I do it by checking what I have there and making sure there's nothing I still want to save.
Does that happen annually?
Oh, like BB Edit, like when I'm done with a project, usually I will review all of my windows and make sure I'm not keeping anything open that I don't want to and close everything. And, BB Edit's cool. Quit is now bound to save all my window positions in state and then quit. So I never close anything. We just quit BB Edit. When I relaunch it, everything's back where I found it. That's the way I like the apps to be.
19 Safari windows. Oh my God.
How many Chrome windows do I have open?
Oh
my God. I didn't even think about that. Of course there's multiple browsers. Of course.
12 Chrome windows.
Oh my God.
In addition to the 19
Yeah,
Safari.
I run Safari and Chrome all the time.
Oh my God.
Why? Why on God's green earth do you need more than 30 web browser windows open? Why is that necessary? How many freaking tabs are in all 30 of these web browsers?
I can close some now. I can close the thing on my web browser secure that we just looked at.
I can close 4 of them. Woo!
I can close the pages with the dates of the super clock dates in it.
What's the average number of tabs per window, you think?
So you can still see the titles. Usually,
So 8?
No, that's too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. For example, when I was looking up, I wanted to look up the dates for Superclock. I had 1 window dedicated to looking up the date that Superclock was released. 1 window looking up the date that System 7.5 was released. And within those windows, I have the Google thing, and then I have tabs for the Google search results that I thought would be likely. And then one of the tabs eventually led to the answer. That window is done, off to the side. Next window.
Wait, stop. Why is it off to the side, and why is it not closed?
So I could refer to it when I just discussed this and did the math in my head about what the dates were. Right?
Oh
and why did I not close the tabs behind it? Because I knew when I would come in at the end of the show, I could close this entire window. It's like little mini research windows. That entire window goes. That entire window goes.
Oh my God.
I had the email that I wanted to talk about in the after show from Grant open in a window here. I have ATP notes in the other window.
John, now you have to be honest with us, please. We're doing this because we're your friends. Do you have any other browsers
open right now?
Do you keep any other browsers? You know, we're trying to keep
any other browsers in my application folder or like run them. I don't run any other browsers, but I do have the latest version of what do you call it? Firefox, and maybe I have another version of Hopper in there somewhere. Who knows?
When's the last? How often do you use Firefox, John?
Never.
Okay, you're still saying it.
Every once in a while I launch it just to see, like, I got in the situation before where when I launched it, the in-application updater didn't even know about like the newest version of Firefox. Like the updater wasn't new enough to know that like actually they're on Firefox version like 30 or something, and it wanted to go to like version 12 or something, and it thought that was the latest. So sometimes I don't run it so long that it just goes completely. Occasionally I fire it up just to see what it's like. I used to maintain Firefox back in the day, but Chrome totally replaced it for me. So
you only use Firefox socially.
No, I used to, like, when I maintain, like, to get Firefox to be tolerable back in the day, I had a series of themes that I had to apply, and the themes would break with new versions. So every time the new version came out, I would update Firefox and try to find the new version of the cool theme that I liked, and then just Firefox went crazy, and I said, forget it.
I'm still back. So you have 30 web browsers open with roundabouts of 6 tabs per window. Like, yep. Oh God, what do you need 180 tabs for?
There's stuff in there. Look at this one.
Of course there's stuff in there. There's 180 things of stuff.
This stuff's going to be worth something someday. I have to keep it.
the UX of mobile settings. I'm going to read that one eventually. Like the reason I leave them there is because things tend to get buried in Instapaper because they fall off the end. But if there's one I really want to read, I can leave it open in a web browser.
How are you going to find it? You have 180 tabs to go through.
I'm going to do some cleaning now. This Swift's blog post I read already, so I can close that one. Like I read it at work.
This is Hoarders. This is
Hoarders.
Yeah.
No.
This is just like Hoarders.
Right. Did you hear the latest Roderick on where they're going through the levels of hoarding?
I haven't finished it yet. I'm like halfway.
Well, this is a relevant topic to them. But anyway, this is definitely not. Because, as you will find out when you listen to the episode, hoarders don't know where their stuff is.
So you are just an indexed hoarder.
No, it's not hoarding at all. It's a key characteristic of the hoarders. They just don't know where their stuff is. And I'm not saving this stuff to think it's going to be worth something someday.
I bet hoarders, first of all, you are saving it because you think you're going to actually get to it.
I will. I do get to it. How do you think things close? Things close because I got to them. I don't necessarily get to them on this computer, but I might get to them someplace else. Oh, see, I can close this one because this is from last night's Incomparable. Boom. Another window with 4 tabs gone.
All right.
So why was it open all day?
Well, it wasn't open all day because I just got on my computer. I've been busy. I haven't had time to like sit at my computer and do anything except for open more new windows.
Since when? 96?
Someday I'll clean it all out when I retire.
No, I opened that window with all those tabs in it for movie information for an Incomparable that I did like last night, and I didn't close all the windows before I left the computer because it's late.
Oh my God!
My way of computing is extremely efficient. People don't understand that, like, how can you have all these windows open? How can you find anything? And I see somebody else, when I tell them to open up a new file, they open a terminal window, they cd into the directory, they type VI the file name, they edit the file, then when they have to open a new file, they close that file, they cd into another directory, they type VI that file name, and they edit the file. That is inefficient. And then all the while they're doing this in one window zoomed to their entire gigantic 23-inch screen.
Instead,
I have different terminal windows open in different locations. I don't need to walk over to a different directory to do stuff. I have shortcuts for commands to do things. It is much more efficient than the people who think, I need everything clean, just one window that covers my entire screen. I'll do everything there. It's multitasking versus single tasking.
Yeah, there's a lot of room between those two extremes, John.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I may be towards one end, but it's not like
towards one end.
I think you're
looking,
the end.
Yeah, you're looking back on the rest of society and saying, "Geez, I remember what that's like."
I think you'll find a lot of old school Mac users work like this with multiple windows. And people who didn't grow up managing Windows are their enemy. They just want to get them off the screen. They can't handle them. It doesn't occur to them to try to arrange or shape them as they would physical objects. And so they just appear randomly, and they're at the mercy of their windows. And so their only solution is to have very few windows, because it's the only way they can feel like they have any mastery of the computer. I don't have that problem.
John, let me assure you that whether or not you are aware of it, Windows are your enemy as well.
They're not. God. They're my friend.
We need to have like a Windows 0 intervention.
Here, I'll give for you. Here's the tip for the two of you who both, I assume, use terminal at various times.
Yeah.
Have a terminal window arrangement that you can save in terminal, where you dedicate sizes, shapes, and regions for windows dedicated to specific purposes. For example, here are my remote windows for this type of machine. This is my log tailing window. This is my window for root on a local machine. This is my window for starting and stopping the web server. And within those windows, you can have tabs for sub purposes, whatever, but dedicate a few major regions to the things that you do. The things I listed are things I commonly do, but whatever the things are you commonly do, have windows, size, shapes, and regions for them. You will never find yourself command tildeing through Windows again. You will never find yourself hunting for a window, because everything will be exactly where you need. And terminal windows are the type of thing where you can actually have them not overlapping that much, because you don't need that many terminal windows, especially with tabs, to cover all of your bases and all of your needs. And then you never need to wonder where to look. You never need to rearrange things so you can see a log being tailed or something, because everything is always exactly where you want it. Try that just in one application.
Well, I have that. I mean, I know where things are. I just get by with fewer windows.
So what are your categories of windows of, like, for that type of task? Describe them.
What, for terminal?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't believe this is the show. All right. So I have right now 4 terminal windows, most of which are single tab, except the main. I have like one main one on the bottom that's where I keep like 6 or 7 tabs open, and they're always in a similar order. Like the far left tab is always like, just like somewhere in my home directory, whatever I'm currently working on. Like that's the current project terminal window. And then as you go to the right, one of them is like the most recent ATP, if I'm working on that, because I do encoding on the command line and transcoding on the command line.
Do you have tab titles?
No. It just shows the command, because I can tell, like, this one says like root at db1. I know what that means. Like that's like that. So I have a couple of web servers. Again, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing local web development, I'll have a MySQL window open. I'll have a PHP window open. Like, but it's always in the same spot. Like, and I keep the same tabs in the same spots. I just get by with a lot fewer of them.
Yep. No, I do the same thing within tabs. I have different builds that I'm working in, arranged in tabs by date order, and I always have the release build in the far left tab for the window that I'm doing on the dev machine, which is the window where I'm typing commands into. Then I have a separate window for a separate project in a different place with a similar arrangement, and then my log tailing windows is in a totally different spot, and it's much wider because of long log lines.
Yeah, I got one of those up top. Yeah, I mean, I feel like. So a while ago, I think this was in Bruce Tognazzini's talk on Interface book from I don't know, when was that from, like the late 80s or early 90s, whenever that was from. And he mentioned there was a study that like they were doing when they were designing the original Mac UI and stuff like that comparing keyboard shortcuts to doing things with the mouse. And at the time, and this probably is not true anymore, but at the time they said that they were doing these UI studies, and people would always think the keyboard shortcuts were faster than doing things with the mouse. But then when they actually observed people, they actually measured how fast people were at doing tasks. Oftentimes, I think in their study, I think it was the majority of the time. Again, I don't think this would hold true today, but even though people thought that the keyboard was always going to be faster, in practice, when the way people actually worked, using the mouse was faster. And they didn't think so, but when you actually measured it by wall clock time, it was faster.
That's the other thing that drives people crazy when they, especially nerds who are like, the big power nerd thing is, I do everything from the keyboard. My hands never leave the keyboard. I'm a touch typist. My hands never leave the home keys. Everything is a keyboard shortcut. I never need to touch the mouse. If you watch me use the computer, I am constantly bouncing between the mouse and the keyboard, sometimes using them both at once if it's a modifier thing. And people think that must be incredibly inefficient. But it's not, because there are certain things, I mean, especially if you're doing things spatially arranging anything, the whole point of spatially arranging things is you can grab at it in a moment's notice. You know exactly where it is, right? And part of the little game, the gamification of spatially arranging things is, look, you're not going to have room for everything. Things are going to overlap. What you need to have is a region that can be some corner of a thing that can be reliably visible. You're like, oh, well, are you arranging things like a little puzzle so you can find the corner? But it becomes second nature, where you quickly grab the mouse, snag the corner of the window you're interested in, because it's always in the same place, and you know exactly what's in it. If you need to change tabs within that window, some people will be like, oh, I can just cycle through them with a keyboard shortcut. It's faster. Your hand is already on the mouse. Click the tab that you know that you want to do, because you want to go to the release build, and it's the far left tab. You could never have gotten to that prompt faster with a series of keyboard shortcuts. You just couldn't, because it's like, it's like iterative versus, declarative, what are the opposite of imperative versus declarative. They're probably not the opposite. Anyway, like you're running a program in your head. Some people do that. Some people are good at running programs in their head, like in VI. Down 5 lines, over 3 words, insert character. Like, that's not the way I think, though. I think it's over there, and I just grab it with the mouse. And that is second nature to me, and I don't have to think about it.
Well, okay, so 2 devil's advocate points. Number 1, the reason I brought up that whole talk on interface study is like you might be thinking what you're doing is faster, but it might not be faster.
I know it's faster because when people see me use my computer, they can't follow it. They're like, what are you doing? I didn't see that. Wait, go. They cannot follow what I'm doing.
Well, I think a person who is like an experienced power user for computers like that, I think that would apply to almost all those people, like people who are really fast with working on their computer, regardless of how they're arranging things. So anyway, the second devil's advocate point is the way you arrange things, how you're describing this, the reasons you're citing for doing this make it sound like what you're trying to avoid is like having to like pull something back out of like where it lives, like in offline storage. So like having to open up a new window to go to something, having to like, pull out a file out of a Finder window, or open up a new terminal window and CD to the right directory or SSH into the right thing or whatever. But in reality, like if that's what you're accustomed to, like if somebody with the same level of skill and familiarity with computers and using them and whatever system they've built up over time, if they do it the other way, which I think is closer to what Casey and I do, which is like a smaller number of windows with a higher tolerance of having to go fetch something from disk or whatever.
I can't stand to watch over the shoulder of those people, because they're like, all right, I have to go do this thing. Let me open a new window. Let me go into the right directory. It's like, aren't you already there? You're already there. And then you end up, and then let me close the window when I'm done to clean everything up. And then let me do the same thing 5 minutes later.
But if that was the system that you had chosen to implement, if that was the way that you worked, I would posit that you would be very similarly fast, if not indistinguishably fast.
It's not about fast. It's like I said before, it's efficiency, and efficiency doesn't just involve speed, but also involves cognitive load. And this is the type of things.
So your cognitive load there is manageable.
Yeah, yes, because you don't things that are within reach you don't think about. If you find yourself thinking words in your head or thinking little programs or macros or series of steps, that is a much higher cognitive load than you not thinking about it at all. In the same way you don't think about it when you pull your phone out of your pocket, it's always in the same pocket. You don't think, okay, reach down, get phone out of pocket.
I only have one pocket. I don't have 100 freaking pockets to go searching through.
I know, but you have a working set of things. I'm just trying to show you that spatial memory is different than having.
I know where every pocket is.
It's the same reason I was getting with Marco doesn't name his tabs, right? How do you know where they are? Well, you know where they are by position. You don't need to have custom tab titles on them, because if you had custom tab titles, that would imply that you're reading the titles of the tabs. And once you find yourself reading the titles of the tabs, it shows you don't know where the thing is you're looking for.
Well, they also have labels to help that. Just like, they're pretty lightweight, but you know what it looks like.
So my main Chrome window always has Gmail as the far left tab. I don't even know what the title of the Gmail tab is. It's always in the same place. I always know exactly where it is. I have all my tabs in my main Google window are always in exactly the same order. It's not just because like occasionally if I accidentally close that window and lose it in history, I can recreate it. I know where everything is by position, because those are the tabs that I use most frequently. And going for something based on where it is or what shape it is or even like the color it is or whatever, like recognizing the icon, that does not require high-level neurocognitive functions. It just happens. It's the same way you can find all the light switches in your house and you can recognize what your car looks like in the parking lot without reading the model number off the side of the thing. It's just visual recognition and where things are in space, and especially as it relates to you reaching for them, even if it's virtually with a mouse, is so much more efficient than ever having to read or count things.
John, I always have Terminal open on my computer. It always has no less than 3 tabs, and they are always showing the same things. I didn't even know it was possible to name a tab because I only have 3 freaking tabs open at a time.
Well, you just don't do a lot of things at once.
I guess. I just, oh my God, it stresses me out so much just thinking about the way you work. I mean, obviously it works for you. I mean, I'm not trying to, I think you're freaking nuts, but
it shouldn't stress you. It really is just the amount of things you have to do. And also your tolerance for like, if you can't manage this mess, if you can't sort of like deal with this swarm of things, if they feel like they're overwhelming you rather than you controlling them, then that's a problem. Right. But it should, like these things don't come into existence on their own. I make them and I put them in places. The thing that bothers me are things that are created that I can't arrange. That like any application, for example, like the Messages app, where as far as I know, well, I guess you can pull out a separate conversation, but really, it really wants you to use a single window for everything. And I can't stand that because I have no control over what order things are in the left sidebar. And it's just one window. And if something happens in some other conversation, I have to go find it and click on it. Then I have to go find it and click on it. Whereas when I use Adium, it remembers window positions on a per person basis. And I can tell who I'm talking to. Like, how many times do I accidentally type the wrong thing to the wrong person in Adium? Almost never. How many times I do it in Messages? All the freaking time. Because it's the same text box for everybody. And if you didn't notice that you didn't change the mode to switch to the conversation you wanted to talk in, you end up typing the wrong thing to the wrong person. Adium, that doesn't happen. Even though every single Adium window looks identical, visually speaking, like the colors are the same and everything's in it the same. The only thing that's different is the size and position of the windows. And if I have 4 conversations going on at the same time, I can keep track of which 4 people I'm talking to, not by memorizing, okay, this person's in the upper right, but just their window never moves unless I move it. It's tied to the person I'm talking to. My wife's window is always in the same spot on the screen. And so I never accidentally type something to a QA person that I should be typing to my wife because I would never do that. It's totally in a different position. I would never grab for that window. Whereas in Messages, I have to pay super careful attention to which little thing is scrolled up to the top and which little message I've clicked on. It's terrible.
All right, so can we do titles before I just weep? Oh, my God.
My favorite title so far that was actually said during the regular show is something that we can say right now, which is nothing is resolved.
Where is the... oh, there it is. I was like, where's the title thing?
Wait. You didn't know where it was?
I was expanding the little link thing on the top of my IRC window, and I said, where is the link to the titles?
Why don't you already have a window?
Sounds like you just lost it. You didn't know exactly where it was.
Because let me tell you why. Because I expanded the link, not the window. I didn't have any windows open. Why didn't I have any windows open with the title thing in it? Because I close it when the show is over. Anyway, I turned on the little thing, and what I was looking for was titles, because the incomparable one is titles.incomparable.com. And so I didn't read all the text that's in the topic, recording most Wednesdays, 9 p.m., blah, blah, blah. I didn't read it. I was just looking for the word title and didn't see it. And so I unexpanded it and then re-expanded it. And then I said, oh, yeah, Showbot, it doesn't say title.
Oh, my God.
Titles.incomparable.com, something like that. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
And see, this is a hoarder would leave the Showbot open all the time.
Yes.
I do not. I close it as soon as we're done with titles.
You hoard everything under the sun, but you won't hoard
you don't.
my
I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
God.
That's got to hurt your self-esteem.
It does. Oh, my God.
What things do you think I keep open that aren't like...
Everything.
I keep Gmail open because mail is always coming in. If there's something... If I'm done reading something or if I don't need it now, it gets closed. And if I don't want to, I have to remember the titles are a thing I have to look at. No, there's no pending task for titles.
Oh, my God. I haven't been this upset since the Mac Pro episode.
You think I should keep titles open all the time? I'm afraid it's going to open a bunch of WebSockets and exhaust my file descriptors.
I don't think it actually even works if you leave it open all the time, because it clears itself out.
It eventually breaks and then dies. Yeah.
It eventually times itself out. But oh God, I just can't handle this. I literally can't even.
Nothing is resolved.
This is either the best or worst ending to the show that I've ever heard.
I didn't even get to talk about the follow-up of the PlayStation 4 controller, but I'll save it for next week.
We'll need something next week, so that's fine.
That window's always open too, ATP show notes. It's in a tab in my main window, always there.
So the show notes are
never
open
closed.
always.
The show notes are always there. Yeah, because all week I'm finding things and throwing them in the show notes. Don't need to open a new window for it. Don't need to go to a bookmark. Don't even know what the URL is because it's some crazy Google Docs thing. I just never close it.
So here's a question. Why don't you do that with more things that you keep in tabs?
Do what?
Why don't you take so many of those tabs that you have open for a month and make a document somewhere with them or save them somewhere so that you can recall them later, so you don't have to have all these tabs open.
That's what Instapaper is.
Right.
If they're open in a browser window, it's because they've gone up to another level. Because it's like, I don't want this to get buried in Instapaper because I'll forget about it. I actually do want to read it. So leave it here. I either want to read it or show it to somebody, or it's something that I can only do on my Mac. So I want to remember, oh yeah, when I'm on my Mac, there was that one thing that I couldn't look at on my iPad but for some reason. Trying to remember to like, oh, now that I'm on my Mac doing something, I should look at that one thing that I couldn't. A good example, which I have open right now, is Zero Punctuation, which does this thing of like pay if you want the HTML5 version. So they intentionally make it so you can't watch it on an iOS device, which is generally when I want to watch these videos. So I have the window open to remind me, hey, you're sitting down at your Mac and you have some free time to do something. Zero Punctuation is there and you can only watch it when you're here. So don't leave the computer until you do. And I did watch a bunch of them the other day, but I'm not all caught up. So I left the window open.
I can't even concentrate right now.
I hope the 7 Rabbit Windowshade fad's all right in.
I like Windowshade. That I don't take issue with. I take issue with you having 300 windows open at a time.
Marco couldn't handle the sticks. The sticks.
No, it looks really weird to me. Like, why? I don't
think of it as like a phantom window. Like only like it's like the shadow of the window is there. Like,
well, then why not just leave the window there? Like the whole point of hiding or minimizing windows is to get them off the screen completely. Like,
I know, but like most of the window is gone. It's just the title bar, and title bars tend to be near the top anyway. So, but you can see like where the window was. You can visualize it being there. And the other thing is like it used to be for like peeking behind a window. Like you just want to see what's behind it briefly, but you don't want to change the focus. You just go, double click or click and zip, like actually shade to peek at the thing that's behind. You don't have a good way to do that these days. You can, if you option click the window behind, you've hidden the one before and you can't get back to it. If you minimize the dock, you got to go chase it down there to get it to come back out or do a keyboard combo for it. But if you peek, you would use it if it was there. It's surprisingly useful. Maybe you wouldn't use it as like all the time or have lots of things minified, but I think, that peeking thing actually comes in handy.
I'm telling you, this is your app.
I know this is an app that I wanted, but I'd never write an app like that because it's really complicated to make, and you have to tie deeply into like the Windows server, essentially using like private undocumented APIs. Who wants to maintain that? Maybe instead of making this be your app, the file system, I think that the file system crusade has been fought as much as you can fight it. And I think it's out of your hands now. Like, there's nothing more. Like, it was ever in my hands? When was it in my hands? Tell me about that time. There's nothing more you can do to try to convince Apple to make a new file system. Like, you've done everything you possibly could to do that. I can continue to complain. But you still, now you could refocus your efforts from that, which I think is probably has reached the end of what you can really do with that. Now you can start not making a Windowshade app, but trying to make Apple add that feature back to the OS. Well, there was a Windowshade. It was a Windowshade for OS 10 for a long time, remember? You guys don't remember that. No. It was an Unsanity thing. It was a Haxi. Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't count. Yeah. Well, but I used it for years. That was the last one I used. Eventually, I rerid my system of all those weird system extensions, and that was the last one to go. But now, it's long gone. I don't use any of those things anymore. And, Windowshade, I get along without it. I don't miss it that much. I don't miss it as much as like a working Finder. that I miss more. Oh my god! All right,
can I go to bed and like weep for John?
Don't try to weep for my computing. It's if you saw me using my computer, it wouldn't seem that weird to you.
You have no idea how happy this crystal meth makes me. Just let me keep abusing it.
No, it doesn't do it. There's no harmful effects. In fact, the harmful effect seems to be on you, not me.
It does. And that's why I want you to stop doing it.
No, I mean, like I said, I feel the same way when I see someone using like a computer, this incredibly powerful computer with a huge screen, and they have like 2 windows open. God. And every time they want something new, they open a new window, use it, and then close it. Like they never sort of arrange their workspace into like a set of things that they're currently working on. And you never close a window. Well, like I said, the worst thing is when someone's working, if you're doing programming, you end up editing multiple files. Even if, like if you have a header file, an implementation file, and there's multiple, like programming is necessarily dealing with multiple files. Web programming even more so, because it's just a lot of files. And you're working on them all at the same time. It's not like you're working on one, then you stop, and you're working on another, then you stop. I mean, you kind of do, but you're cycling between them so often that if the overhead of going to fetch the other one is too high, you'll kill yourself. And I see people, they will only have one window. They call it their text editing window. And it fills the entire screen, and whatever their editor is, they work on one document and then they close it. And they open another document, they work on it and they close it. They open another document, work on it and close it. And occasionally they'll split the view and open one document and like a single splitter so they can see them both at once. But this is on, a giant screen, often in portrait orientation. And that is like, it's so, and then if you want them to like do something in the command line, they close all their editing windows because that's also their terminal window, and then they type a command. And if that command doesn't return and give them their prompt back, like the frequent phrase I find myself saying to people is, open another terminal window or get me another shell prompt. It's like they just work with one, and whatever that one shell prompt, and this is the equivalent of Casey not understanding my millions of windows. I can understand how people get anything done with one. Like they just use one. No tabs, no multiple windows.
Oh, this is such a false dichotomy.
It's not. This is the other end of the spectrum. And I'm trying to say, I understand Casey's frustration in seeing someone use a computer the way they don't think. But the thing is, he's not even seeing me use a computer. He's just visualizing it in his mind. But that's the way people feel comfortable. Like that's what they can keep track of is one thing at a time. Or what you guys can keep track of is like, your 4 terminal windows with a couple of tabs. I can keep track of a lot. I've been doing this a long time.
God. The thing of it is if you told me you had like 4 Safari windows open and there's a few tabs in each, I would still think you're a little crazy, but whatever. But what did you say? 30 windows with something to the order of 6 tabs a window? No human being. even you.
Well, not every window has 6 tabs. Like, so my bug tracking window has 4 tabs here. My titles window has has no tabs because it's just the bug tracker. Occasionally I consolidate, but I don't like consolidating things that aren't grouped together. Like I would never stick the 0 punctuation window as a tab in the same window as the titles thing because they're not related.
God, I can't handle this.
And we still haven't picked the title.
Nothing is resolved.
Nothing is resolved, Marco. Oh God. I'm frustrated enough that I looked at CMF saying the windows of Syracuse County and almost thought to myself, maybe we should use that. God, it doesn't really matter, obviously, but just thinking about it just stresses me out. Let's talk about the Mac Pro some, just to calm me down.
Look, there's another Windowshade app out there. I've never heard of this one. Not that I'm going to install it because I'm assuming it's a crazy system hack, but Window Miser. Window Miser is an application that lets you see what's behind the front window without minimizing the current window to the dock. They're pitching it at that use as the main feature.
Oh my God.
No thanks.
All right, your choices are Nothing is Resolved or the county one.
No, that is not a choice.
We'll see. Now I'm tempted to do it just because I know it'll bother you.
If there was ever a time to do a Syracuse County title, this is it.
I think you're right.
No, we're not doing one. There is no time. What are you talking about? It's not like there's suddenly a time for this. There's no time.
I'm coming around.
Once you give in to the Syracuse County title.
I know, that's the thing. I can't give CMF her moment, but God.
Nothing is resolved.
But if there was ever a time,
if there was ever a time.
No, there is not. There's nothing county about this. Windows doesn't sound like bridges. You'd have to go for a bridges angle. That's where it came from. It was a show about bridges. You can't just take I'm going to take the Syracuse County part. Like there's nothing geographic. It doesn't make any sense. You just take the blank of Syracuse County. That's the worst of the Syracuse County titles. This means, you can take anything and stick it there.
It's just all you're doing is encouraging us to do it now.
It'd be your show with this title on it. Think about it.
No, I have never, in every other suggestion that people have had of some stupid Syracuse County title, I have never thought it was worth using.
I agree.
But how is this one better? How is this noun stuck into the Mad Libs better than the other one?
I think this is completely worth it. I think if we use a Syracuse County title once in this entire podcast, in the entire run of however long we end up doing this, I think this is a good candidate for that.
Oh God, I agree.
So you committing to only do it once then?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we only could do it once, and I think this is such a good opportunity. I would do it.
Well, feel free. See if you want to do it.
Yes,
I think this is terrible titles. And enjoy the crazy amount of suggestions that you will like.
That's the thing. We are all agreeing, CMF, that we are never going to recommend this again if this works.
I'm sure this will work. Yeah. Huh?
No, I'm telling you, that's it. That's the deal.
At least we stopped getting that's fine for Buddha.
That was the thing. I never noticed that.
It was yes. It was a holdover from Back to Work that somehow leaked into our titles early on.
I can't believe this. Jesus. Oh, God.
I thought we had nothing to talk about tonight.
Me too.
I thought this was going to be a short show. We'd barely get to an hour 20. I have no idea what to talk about because the news isn't that interesting, and I thought we'd be scraping around for desperation topics here.
Well, I can talk to people all day about how they're not using their computers to their fullest potential. Right? Like, think of it this way. When you see somebody else use a computer, do you feel like they could be doing it better or faster?
Of course.
Yeah, all the time.
I have that feeling so much. I cannot look at other people who use computers.
I can't imagine what it's like for you.
Like, just that they're like,
This is the hell of your life.
it's not as bad as like having two hands on the mouse, slowly bringing the cursor up to the close box, but that's what it feels like to me. And I feel better when I see, you ever see the people who do everything in one window but do everything on keyboard, those touch typist people? At least I feel better about those people because they may not be as efficient as they could be, but it's clear that they have a system. And so it's like just a flurry of commands and the screen is splitting and flashing and changing from one thing to the other. And they're probably doing more work than they have to, but things are happening. Versus the person who you see using the computer and you make a suggestion, it's like, all right, so I got to go to that server. I guess I could get a new window here. And then I could type SSH. It's like, you go to the server every day. There's no shortcut. There's no alias. There's no keyboard shortcut. There's no existing open window. It's like a brand new thing every time. And open a new terminal window. Type google.com. It's like, no. So I can't. That's how I feel when I see anybody using a computer. And I have a lighter version of that same feeling when I see someone using a massively powerful computer with a huge screen that has 3 windows open on it.
So would it just drive you insane if I told you I kind of like the full screen mode and whatever came in on Lion?
No, full screen is appropriate for certain things, especially if you have an 11-inch MacBook Air or something. The full screen is not that big anyway, and you just want to get rid of the window chrome and fill it up. And people who use Spaces, I can kind of see what they're doing. At least something is happening.
I am obsessive about Spaces.
As they swipe from place to place. Spaces makes you arrange things like, this is my goofing off space, and this is my workspace, and this is my, console logging space or whatever. And it makes people sort of arrange things. I think swiping between them with the animation gets a little tiresome and can kind of make me seasick, which is one of the many reasons I don't use it. And I hate forgetting what space something is in every time I've tried to use it. I guess I don't have a system, but it is a system. It is not, I just have a window here. And when I watch my parents use a computer, I want them to only have one window because they cannot handle overlapping windows at all. Once there's one window behind another window, they've lost it. It's gone. They don't have object permanence for windows. Where did that go? It's in the same place where it was before unless you moved it.
Right. They have the same number of windows as you, but for a completely different reason.
No, they have 2 windows. They have 2, maybe 3 windows. They do not have a lot of windows, but they even 2 or 3 because they can't all be on the same, because they want the browser window to be really big. Eventually it hides all the other ones and they lose track of them. So they have a very different problem.
I can't even handle this.
We have to go to bed.
We do.
And you wondered why I was excited about splitting the screen on the iPad.
Oh, no, I don't. How many icons do you have on your desktop?
My desktop is pretty neat. I have a cluster to the left.
Oh, wait, when's the last time you've seen your desktop?
I just see it right now. You know how I saw it? Without even thinking about it. How do you think I did it?
Hot corner.
Yes, hot corner, of course. Hot corners are awesome. I did not have to think about how am I going to go to my desktop? Should I click on the Finder and then Command Option H? No. It happened before, without even thinking. Look at my desktop, boom, it's there in front of me. I don't know how it happened. My hand flicked the cursor into the corner. All right. On my left side, I've got a couple of folders for the things I'm working on now. I've got my call recorder recording folder. I got a folder that my wife keeps on my thing. My Ars Technica folder. I have my media drive alias. I hate server aliases. Do you have server aliases break for you in the Finder? You'll make an alias of a server that you mount and you're like, now I'll be able to mount that easily. And then every once in a while, the icon just goes generic and it doesn't work anymore. I don't know what the hell's
I have never been able to reliably reconnect to a Finder network share in any way besides going to the computer in the list and remounting it. Every other method has always failed eventually.
Aliases work for me for a while, and I keep recreating because I use it a lot. And then I've got nothing in the whole middle of the desktop. And on the right side of the desktop, I have a bunch of files that are kind of temp scrap files for work. One of the files is a GarageBand file that I use to check my levels occasionally because it shows the waveform when I talk into it. I want to make sure I'm not clipping to adjust the gain and stuff like that. I've got Kate's coloring pages in a folder there because she's always having me find pictures for her and print them out so she can color them in. I've got a couple of podcasts that I wish I could put into Overcast, but I can't because Marco won't let me upload files. And a link to, what is this a link to? A toilet part that I just bought that I need to file that away somewhere, and that's about it. So it's maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 icons, and then 2 drive icons.
You know how many I have? 1.
Oh, you're not doing a lot of stuff. You didn't just repair a toilet. You're not checking your microphone levels.
You don't know that.
So I did just repair a toilet 3 times, actually, because I kept doing it wrong.
Did you save links to the place where you got the parts so you can find it next time it breaks?
Nope. Because, first of all, who cares? Second of all, I bought them all on Amazon, and Amazon keeps a whole history of everything I've ever bought.
Yeah, no, I always end up getting them from these random plumbing supply companies when I find these. Now, I really just need to turn that into a noting Yojimbo. Like, for example, when I get replacement wiper blades, I always forget what sizes they are for the different cars. So the first time I buy them, I just write them down with links to the things. And yeah, Amazon is good about finding your orders, although sometimes when I search their order history, I wonder if it's like losing things. It's difficult because sometimes I buy through my wife's Amazon account, sometimes through mine. But anyway, I keep a pretty neat desktop. I mean, I want to see the picture that's there. That's not a lot of icons for a big screen. You know what desktops look like of people who don't manage their desktops. It's just basically covered with icons.
Yeah, they look like your browser windows is what they look like.
No, everything's managed. I know exactly where everything is. It has a place.
Everything has a place.
I can just mouse over. It just happens. I don't even know how it gets there. My mouse just guides itself right there.
I could close any of these anytime. I just choose not to.
It's true. But also, how many icons do you have on your desktop, Margo?
I don't want to count. So eyeballing it's probably about 10 or 12.
See, same as me. It's just whatever stuff you happen to be working on that's in flight, and like the kids' coloring page stuff, I just leave on the desktop just because, I mean, I could put it in Quicksilver too if I wanted, but it's just convenient to have it there. Also, because I drag things out of Safari windows, I want to drag them, once you get to the full-size version of the image, it's convenient just to be able to drag it out of a window and drop it into the folder. You know what I mean? And so then if the folder is on the desktop, it's easy to do that because just start the drag, flicking to the corner, or since they're on the right edge, half the time they're visible anyway.
Why don't you just leave the window open all the time with the image? You don't have to save it.
I print it, and when I print it, it's gone. It's done. I'm not leaving things around for no reason. They all have a purpose, and once the purpose is done, they close. Yes, unless it's a monitoring type thing that I'm looking at all the time, like Gmail.
And the wonderful thing is, John, on an infinite timescale, everything has a purpose.
That's not how the infinite timescale argument works. On an infinite timescale, every window closes. That's the correct answer.
All right, we're done. I can't take this.